With a 99.4% success rate, Raju Law is one of the largest immigration law firms in the USA. Besides our founder and principal attorney, we have 6 associate attorneys along with 100 law clerks, case managers.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the weekly live session of Attorney Raju Mahajan and Associates. This is a live session where we answer critical questions that you might have regarding the US immigration system, while also keeping you updated with any recent changes made by the immigration panel. For today, I am your host, Isabella Rosario, and I also have our guest, who is none other than the principal attorney of the firm, Mr. Raju Mahajan. Mr. Mahajan, it's great to have you here.
Isabella, and thank you very much those who are watching now or watch later in our Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and all other media. I welcome all of you to this show.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mahajan. And yes, welcome everybody who has tuned in to watch the live session. For today, we have a very important topic that a lot of you might be very curious about. The topic is none other than the reinstatement of student status. Mr. Mahajan, what do you have to say regarding this crucial matter?
Thank you very much. Yes, a lot of people who come to America to study as a F1 student, when they come to America, they cannot continue their F1 status because of some reason. And if you cannot, maintain your F1 status, you will lose your status, meaning your service account would be deactivated. Once you are deactivated, technically you already lost your status. However, you have opportunity to reinstate your status and continue your F1 status and keep studying here in America. So today I'm going to discuss little details about what it is and how to apply for reinstatement, what is the cost and everything. So I believe this session will be very helpful to our prospective clients and current clients. Can you please show the PowerPoint? Samir, can you please show the PowerPoint? I don't know whether Samir can show it. Let me try to play from my end. Let me try to show my screen settings. Oh yeah, it's here. All right. Thank you. Sorry for the delay, everybody. I think it was like a technical mistake, technical issues. So as I said, our today's topic is reinstatement of F1 status, meaning reinstatement of student status for those international students who come to America to study. Next slide, please. So the question is, what is a reinstatement? So when a student, and I wrote everything in the screen because a lot of people say they don't understand my accent or some reason. If you cannot understand what I'm talking about, you can read it in this slide. That's why I write everything in like a bold red color so you can easily understand. So when a student fails to maintain his F1 status and his service immigration record is terminated, he will be considered as out of status and he will no longer be eligible for any kind of benefit of F1 status. So meaning that technically your student status has been terminated and you get no benefits under this. And if you continue this way, you would be out of status, meaning illegal. And being out of status is very bad for anybody who wants to stay in America for a long time. So in this case, if the student applies to U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Service, USCIS, with a view of retaining his F1 status, that is known as application for F1 visa status reinstatement. Following the reinstatement approval, the student will resume active F1 status and regain eligibility for all qualifying benefits of status. That meaning, if your reinstatement application is approved, you'll get back your status. So that's like the very short way to say that. Next slide, please. All right. So the question is, what are the eligibility requirements of reinstatement? The student has not the student has not been out of status for more than 5 months. Here, you see, I put the 5 in a different color and I underline, meaning this is a very important number. So one of the main requirement is that you have not been out of status for more than 5 months at the time of filing the application. You have to do this within 5 months. However, if the student failed to file a reinstatement application within the last 5 months, must demonstrate that he has failed to apply for reinstatement within the 5 months period due to a exceptional circumstance. I will talk about this exceptional circumstance later. So this is another very key term, exceptional circumstances. She is number 2, requirement number 2 is she is currently pursuing or intending to pursue a full course of study in the immediate future at the school which issued the form I-20. So here another very important thing, you have to intend, you have to have an intent of studying full time, meaning you have to register for 9 credits every semester. A lot of people, they say, can I get reinstatement and continue as a part-time student? The short answer to your question to is no, you cannot do that. You have to continue full-time study to maintain your F1 status. Next slide, please. All right, so the next requirement is she does not have any record of willful or repeated violation of USCIS regulations. So this is another very important topic. Once you are in America, you have to remember that there's a lot of regulations under F1 visa, and you have to maintain all of those regulations. It's not hard to maintain, but if you are not careful, if you do not pay attention, there is a chance that you may not follow some of the regulations. You may violate some of the regulations. And if it is a willful, there's another very important legal term, willful. I'm not going that detail about the term, but willful is very significant. So please do not violate any of the F1 regulations while you are in America. Next requirement is not next slide, go back. Yeah, she has not engaged in unauthorized employment. This is another key term. So I know a lot of international students who come to America, they work part-time in different restaurants and other places. Technically, all these are unauthorized employment. I know you will say, well, I have been working for a long time, nobody said anything. Yes, especially in big cities like New York, Los Angeles, Washington DC kind of area, most of the law enforcement agencies, they do not pay attention to these kind of things. But legally, you're not supposed to engage in any unauthorized employment. Next one is the violation of his F1 status has resulted from extraordinary circumstances beyond her control. So this is another important thing. The reason of violating this F1 status was an extraordinary circumstance beyond your control. If it is easy to fix, then you cannot apply for reinstatement. She is not deportable on any grounds other than overstaying or failing to maintain status. So it's another topic. I'm not going to discuss that detail here. So there are many grounds of deportability. So if you qualify for any of those grounds of deportability other than this, termination of your service account, then you may not get reinstatement application approved. You have to be careful about those grounds of deportability. I will make another video sometime soon about grounds of deportability. But you have to remember that you cannot be qualified for any of those things. Next slide, please. All right, so what is extraordinary circumstance beyond control? So this can be like anything that is reasonable, anything that is logical, but here are the sum: serious illness or injury. And illness doesn't mean like only physical illness. It can be physical and mental illness. A lot of people, they claim that they have mental health issues, and based on that mental health ground, you can also apply for reinstatement. So it must be a serious illness or injury. Natural disaster. So let's say there's a natural disaster in your area where you are living. Let's say you live in New York and there's like a huge natural disaster. Because of the disaster, you cannot, you could not continue your F1 status. Or the natural disaster can be your home country. Because, let's say your parents live there, and because there was like a natural disaster, you had lost contact with your parents, you were stressed. That could be one ground of reinstatement. Also, inadvertency or oversight, meaning that this is also kind of like a mental health kind of issue, that you cannot remember many things, you forget many things. So this is the kind of disease, but you cannot just claim it. You have to get a certificate from a licensed practitioner, meaning a doctor. You have to get a certificate from a doctor or psychologist or psychiatrist saying that you have inadvertency or oversight. closure of the institution. If your school has been closed for some reason, usually it doesn't happen, but in case if it does, in that case you can claim that, well, my school was closed, that's why I could not continue my F1 status, and that's why my savings account has been terminated, and which is beyond my control. Of course, it's your beyond your control. So these are the extraordinary circumstances beyond your control that you can use to apply for reinstatement of your F1 status. Next slide, please. All right, timeline. As I said, you have to apply within 5 months. If you cannot apply within 5 months, you have to show that there is a exceptional circumstance. Because of that, you could not apply within 5 months. But usually, you have to apply within 5 months. Next slide, please. Cost. So there are two kinds of situation. That's why there's two kind of cost. If you file within 5 months, and then the service fee would be $455, 370 for USCIS filing fee, and $85 for USCIS biometric service for the application. This is just USCIS fee. This is not our fee. A lot of time people are confused. They think $455 is for the total cost. No, this is just USCIS fee. We also charge fee for as an attorney fee, because we need to work on your case. Also, if you apply beyond your 5 months, then there is a $200 additional service fee. So those 455 plus 200 if you apply beyond that 5 month period. Next slide, please. Also, when you apply, you have to submit two forms. Number one is Form I-539, application to extend change non-immigrant status. Form G-1145. So G-1145 is not a mandatory form, but it is highly recommended. If you submit G-1145 form, you will get email notification, phone notification, which is very good for you, very easy thing. It's better for you. That's why we recommend. But the only form that is mandatory is Form I-539. And again, I'm not going that detail about the form, because every case is different. Everybody's situation is different. Based on every situation, you have to fill up the form in a different way. Next slide, please. All right, required documents. Remember, this list of documents is not applicable for everybody. In general, it is applicable to most of the people, but sometimes based on your situation, there can be different kind of documents too. I'm just reading one by one. Number one, personal check or money order of USCIS filing fee of $450, of course. But if you apply beyond 5 months, then additional $200. Letter of explanation explaining why the applicant fell out of student status and the issue the applicant will face if she is not reinstated. You have to submit a letter explaining the situation. A letter of motivation that the applicant is pursuing or intending to pursue a full course of study. I mentioned this before. So you have to tell that you're going to be a full-time student. You cannot say that I will be a part-time student. You have to show your motivation. Copy of your passport, copy of your visa. Next slide, please. Copy of your I-94, copy of new I-20 issued for reinstatement request. One thing I want to tell here, if you have dependents, let's say you are the primary applicant, you have dependents, you have to submit I-20 for each dependents, not just you. Because as soon as your service account is terminated, your dependents who are in F2 visa, their service account was terminated too. So you have to submit I-20 for all of your dependents, including you as a primary applicant. Copy of all previously issued I-20, of course, evidence of financial support, graduate assistantship offer letter, if applicable. A lot of people, you get a graduate assistantship letter. You have to submit a copy of that. Savings and bank statement, at least 1 year of applicant bank statement of at least 1 year, and or tax return, and or W-2, and signed letter of sponsorship if anyone is sponsoring the applicant. This is the area, like everybody has a different kind of situation. If you have American bank account, you can submit it. If you file tax in the last year, you can submit it. If you have a sponsoring person, you have to submit a signed document from that person. Next slide, please. Application processing time. A reinstatement application may take up to 5 months for processing. So sometimes it takes a little longer, sometimes it takes shorter, but usually it takes like a 5 months kind of. Next slide, please. Requirements while reinstatement is pending. A lot of people, they do mistake in this area, because once they submit their application, they feel like, oh, we're done. Just because I submitted the reinstatement, my reinstatement application has been approved. That's not true. It is not approved until it is approved. And while it is pending, applicant must continue to enroll full-time for each semester. Meaning, let's say you got I-20 from January, like spring semester, you applied for reinstatement, and then the processing is still pending. In the summertime, usually you do not need to enroll for school, but if it goes to fall, you have to get another I-20 for the fall semester, and you have to submit the copy of that I-20 to USCIS. You have to send it to add in your application. So you have to be enrolled for each semesters while your application is pending. Applicant should not travel outside of the US while the reinstatement application is pending. You cannot travel unless it is reapproved. It is approved. Reinstatement application is considered abandoned when the applicant leaves the US while the reinstatement is pending. While it is pending, if you leave America, it is considered as abandoned. It's a very serious thing. Please do not do that. Next slide, please. Thank you. So this is our presentation about reinstatement. If anybody has any question about reinstatement or any other thing, I'm happy to answer here.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mahajan, for providing such an insightful commentary on this important issue. I'm sure you have answered many of our pressing questions. We have already have some comments accumulated already. So Mr. Korimullah and Mr. Omar Farooq extends their greetings. Thank you so much for tuning in. And Mr. Raj Sigdal asks, I am an F1 student and I received TPS during my F1 status. If I fall out of F1 status and rely on TPS, will I be able to apply for adjustment of status if my NIW is approved? Mr. Mahajan,
Yes.
your thoughts, please.
Yes, you can do that because since you have two status, both F1 and TPS, if you lose either of those, that's okay because if you have the other one. However, if you lose both of those, then you will have difficulty applying for adjustment of status after your NIW approval. But if you have TPS, that's good enough.
I hope that answers your questions, Mr. Sigdal. So far, we do not have any other questions. I think the presentation itself was a lot sufficient. Thank you so much, Mr. Mahajan. Do you have any closing statements?
Not right now. So I tell everybody, this is a great opportunity to ask us question. If anybody asks question, we'll have here to answer. And every Sunday we come for this presentation 11 a.m. Eastern time. So yeah, join us next time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mahajan, for your time. And thank you so much, audience members, for tuning in. Please remember, we will be right here at the same time next Sunday as well. So please join us with any questions you might have and prepare to get enlightened on a lot of issues relating to U.S. immigration. Thank you so much. Have a great day. And thank you, Mr. Mahajan.